It is a good morning. So I'm gonna probably get some complaints that there's noise in the background and the audio isn't all that good. I'm just gonna have to deal with it because it's Saturday morning and I'm just chilling. You hear the rain in the background as it falls in my pool, and you're probably gonna hear the hummingbirds still buzzing by. I was surprised, even though it's lightly raining, they're still cruising around out there, coming in, getting a drink. Hear them? That's them chattering as they go by because they compete to be into the feeders that we have hanging around. So today I want to talk about excellence, destination excellence. It's not enough for me to be correct about a trade. It's not enough for me to feel like I got one way of beating the market, one way to work in a specific range, whether it be a small range or a large range day. It's not enough for me to know how to trade just one asset class or what time of day. And I've mentioned it when Corbs did my first face-to-face interview. He asked, how many things have I created? Like, I have a lot of things that the industry now uses, and I'm honored and very privileged to be in that position. So don't think that I don't appreciate it, because I do. But he asked, how many things do I have that I've created? And I said, well, I have 81 specific PD arrays that I utilized over the years to frame a entry. Excuse me. And I feared, when I first started, I feared entering. I feared not having the right entry point. And as a new trader, as a new student of the markets in the early 90s, I was intimidated by the complexities that this industry brings with it. And for the folks that come to me wanting to learn how to trade and read price action and study it, I'm certain that it feels like overkill. And it was designed to be overkill because I needed to overcome fear when I first started. So that's the reason why I have so many weapons, so many tools in my arsenal. But excellence doesn't require all that. Excellence doesn't require 81 entry methods. And there's a tide that's shifting when it comes to me as a topic or a subject matter on social media. The idea that, and you may be one of these individuals, you use my concepts, you use my ideas, and maybe you've gained a little bit of a following and whatnot. Maybe you've created mentorships or some kind of a community. And their impatience waiting for November to come for me to depart from all of you on this one-on-one as close as it can be type of experience. When I set sail in the second week of November, they're in a hurry to get out there and start panhandling, because there's going to be a void of me doing things like this. There's a number of them out there, and they've masqueraded as really good supporters, but you can see them in their posts. You can see in how they talk and the titles of their videos, and they're just chomping at the bit. They can't wait. They're seething, because once I stop doing this, there's going to be a thirst for more of it. And I want you to understand that, obviously, if it was something that was part of me that wanted to have this, I would stay here and do it. I don't want to be the center of attention, but I do want to deposit the information into your hands. That way you can go about your business the rest of your life, the rest of your trading career, and feel confident that I have given you more than enough. More than enough. But many times, will lead you to new discoveries, not about trading, but about yourself. And the excellence in this industry is not from the tools. It's not from the process. It's not the things that you use to get in and out of a trade. It's how you, as the operator, you, the trader, handle yourself and engage the market. But wait a minute, Michael, you're saying that it's not the tools, it's not the things that you use to trade, but how you engage the market, right? How you think about the market, how you think about you as a trader. Think about it like this. If you were to start all over again, but had the benefit of knowing everything you know at this point, even though if you're not consistently profitable, you know the things that you wasted time on. You know the things you did incorrectly. And some of you probably have studied incorrectly with me. You didn't listen to the things I've told you to do. You tried to rush into trading. I did a poll the other day. It'll expire later tonight. I asked everyone that were willing to participate in it on Twitter. Have you rushed into trading before you learned how to do what it is I'm teaching? And yesterday, about an hour after the post of that poll, it was predominantly, yes, everyone has done exactly what I said not to do. And now you know, as an individual that maybe didn't take that vote or are afraid, like somehow I can see or other people can see that you made that vote, you're afraid or intimidated. You're embarrassed. You don't want to admit that you did something incorrectly. And that's one of the things that, when I sit down and talk to you, I'm reminding my children and I'm reminding you as the audience members that are privy to this conversations I have with them, that I made terrible mistakes in the beginning trying to do things that I was not ready for. I took on the challenge of trading with real money with just a month's worth of book reading. That's it. That's it. I did a couple little things. I looked in the charts and I figured, well, this is easy to see. 1, 2, 3 tops, 1, 2, 3 bottoms, bull flags and things like that. That seems easy enough. I can go in there and do that. And then I got smacked around. My first real soiree in the marketplace, and 50% of my account was taken overnight, trading option in orange juice. So I know what it feels like to rush in and do things ahead of time, ahead of schedule. But I was hungry to get out of the rat race. I was hungry to become more than just the average everyday existence, go to work, come home tired, and feel like that maybe, I'll be able to retire eventually. So I was impatient, just like every one of you are. And if you're saying you're patient now, you're not. That's just you trying to convince yourself or everyone else that would see your social media post that you're patient. I'm not patient. I may come across as someone that has the patience of a saint, but I can tell you this, I am absolutely impatient. I wrestle with that every single day. And I get impatient with people that come and they want to get to the point ICT. The point is it's going to take a lot of fucking work to learn how to do this appropriately and correctly. And I don't sugarcoat it. I don't do those types of things where I'm going to convince you that in a week's workshop or a month or a couple months or even 1 year, you're going to be consistently profitable. But in 1 full year, you will have a full baseline. You'll have some measure of understanding what the normalcy is over the entire calendar year for the marketplace. There are seasonal tendencies that come in. They shift in and shift out. And you have to have that because you can't just take a small sample set of time observing price action, regardless of who teaches you, whether it's me, someone else, it doesn't matter. You can't take a very small, tiny little snapshot of time and engagement and think that you have it figured out. Let's do a little exercise here, okay? Interactive. If you're driving, don't do this. If you're operating heavy machinery, don't do this. Now the girls are seeing the hummingbird. It's like 12 hummingbirds flying around me right now. You'll hear them in a second. I'm gonna get close enough. When the girls, when I say girls, I'm talking about my two boxers. I have two dogs, and Bella's doing great, by the way. But the exercise I want you to do is take both of your hands and hold them in front of you. Outstretch your arms in front of you, right in front of your face, as far as your arms can reach in front of you, and touch your two thumbs together and your two index fingers. And it should closely resemble a triangle. Okay. Now take that triangle that you're holding with your hands and pan around to any portion of something in front of you. Whatever the landscape is, if you're in a room, do that. Okay. And I want you to think about that small little triangle area. That small little triangle area is the perspective that 1 year gives you. Now look around, all around the room with your head panning around now. That's what your career will look like. It's dynamic. But when you're learning, when you first step into this industry or any skill set, you have to go in with a very small sample size. So that way you can condition yourself to look for something that repeats. There's something in the marketplace every single day. Every single day, I have a model, I have an application, I have a PD array, I have a style, I have an approach that I can absolutely go in there and smack the shit out of this marketplace and take something home every single day, every single trading session. Now, I didn't have that. I'll call it arrogance because that was arrogance, but that's just the fucking truth. In the beginning, though, I was timid. I was afraid. I was afraid to do anything because I was clueless to what was available. Now, I could understand, you can put your hands down, by the way, that small little triangle, that perspective. That's what I had when I read Ken Roberts' book, which was, you know, at the risk of sounding disrespectful, it was a piece of shit book. Okay. But it did get me excited about the idea of trading. It really did. It got me interested in trading. It turned me on to a movie called Trading Spaces. And I just fell in love with the idea. I'm gonna be a trader. I'm going to devote my life to the marketplace. That's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I can't imagine doing anything else. I fell out of love with martial arts. I was going to run a martial arts dojo, and I said, I'm just this is me. Like I feel drawn to this. But that small little perspective of understanding a few things, but your impatience drives you into thinking that small little perspective is enough, and it's not. That's just the invitation to the party. That's that's the invitation to the dance floor. That's just the first chords of the song that you're going to dance to as a career as a trader. That's not the entire song. That's just the first few notes. And rarely do you ever hear the first few notes of any song and think, "Oh, this is going to be a banger." Because sometimes I've heard something that sounds like it's going to be great, and it's not good. And other times I have songs and maybe a playlist that you guys keep asking for. I just play what comes to mind. I don't have a playlist per se, but some of my songs probably aren't interesting to you. Maybe it might not be the genre that you like. Maybe you're offended when I say country music sucks. It just depresses me. I don't like it, but I have to live with a wife that listens to it. But that perspective, whatever it is limited. And you can't take that small little perspective, whether it be training with somebody that has an idea that they're going to turn you into a master trader in a short span of time. I don't believe that's possible. Not because I didn't do it, but because I understand human nature. Human nature is I want it right now, I want it fast. And that side of the marketplace in every industry is always going to be able to fleece the impatient. The impatient. Watch and see in November how this balloons up into shortcut ICT, turn it around in 5 minutes and all this. It's going to be ridiculous. And I want to have something in in recording where you can hear my voice referring to it in advance because that's not the right way of doing it. It's going to make them money. I'll have a whole lot more millionaires that they can thank me that, I gave them a voice, but that's not going to turn anybody into long-term, consistently profitable traders. It's going to make them money with their courses, their mentorships, their whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I'm not trying to kick you down if you're one of those individuals. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be successful. I'm just being realistic and reminding you that that's not excellence. Like you're the equivalent of a ticket scalper outside of a major event, trying to sell a ticket, 2-3 times over what was really paid. And it's supply and demand factors. Yeah, I understand that, but you will not have the character that's respected by doing what you did or will do. And you don't care because you want to make money, and that's all that matters. That's fine. I appreciate that hustle because I was willing to do a whole lot of shit when I was younger too, and do things that would have otherwise, made me cringe today. But when you're hungry and you want to leave the rat race, when you want to get out of the mundane and being typical, the average bear, I wasn't made to be like that. I had a lot of shit that I had to prove because I had parents that didn't do anything with me. I had a very sheltered childhood, and the few things that I did involve myself in, that was my entire world. So when I saw the opportunity to bloom and really experience the world, experience life by having success, and this would be my vehicle, this would be my pathway, my highway to pursue that destination of excellence. It's funny. If you could please just permit me to talk, casually, and this isn't meant to sound arrogant, but I've met a lot of people in this industry, outside this industry, and those individuals that know me. It's really strange, and you're going to experience this too. The fact that I can do these things and are able to explain it before it happens, the opinion of other folks expands beyond the scope of trading, and they'll think that you're an authority on everything. So what do you think about this, and what do you think about that? And many times my response is, I don't know anything about that. I don't talk about it. I never mentioned it. And it could be some off the wall topic, even sports, for instance, because they see I usually wear a Yankee cap. And I'm not really a big sports fan. I just like the logo. And I catch a lot of shit for it in Maryland because they don't like the Yankees up here. And I just love that shit. I love it. So, Manipulation 101, AMD, I use my hat to see which one is the weakest in character. The people that talk to me about the Yankees, they have a superiority complex, just like the people online that troll me. Okay, they're the people that are not happy in their own skin. They have not found excellence. They're not residing in excellence. The people that are residing in excellence, the students of mine that have discovered their model, they don't even follow me on Twitter. They don't watch my videos anymore. They found their model. They're living their life, and they're doing exceedingly well. And I'm very proud. And I don't need them to constantly give me any feedback or report cards. They said, "Look, this is where I'm at now. Thank you so much. I just can't imagine where my life's going to take me, but I'm excited." And they're done. They're not working anymore. They're making fortunes of real, not demo dollars, baby, not demo, and they're not trading funded accounts. I'm talking real cash, real money. And they don't give a shit about what I'm doing on Twitter anymore. And I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel like, but you don't love me anymore. You don't worship me. You don't raise flags and make a ticker parade about me. That's not what this is about. It's never been about that. I want you to get to the point where you can say, you know what, Michael? I listened to all your shit. Okay. I had to go through a lot of shit to figure out what it is I should be trading. And I got it now. Thank you so much. It's been real, but I gotta go. See ya. That's exactly what I want all of you to do. I don't want you to feel tethered to me or need to feel tethered. I read people commenting in tweets saying, they're depressed or they're anxious or they're upset and they're lonely and they're going to miss me already. I don't want you to feel that way. I've given you enough right now. If I stop, you have plenty, but I have more. I'm going to share. I'm going to teach you very specific things. And once you understand them, that's where you take your attention. That's where you take your devotions. Each day you study and you make whatever you describe as excellence, whatever that destination is for you. It may be leaving your job and just matching what you make at your job. And that is excellence. Because now you're not relying on someone else to pay you, to feed you and your family, to tell you when you can and can't. That, to me, is excellence. And then you get to that point, and you think to yourself, well, I've only had to do this much to get to this point. What happens when I now apply the new experience over 3 years now doing it? I'm going to apply a new measure of commitment to it. And I'm going to start broadening my efforts and doing a little bit more than I'm used to. Not overnight trying to make $1 million, but just slowly growing into your new self. Remember, before that ugly ass caterpillar turned into that butterfly, it had to die as a caterpillar. And it was very ceremonial. It wraps itself up in its silken web, cocoon itself, and then it dies as a caterpillar. It closes itself off to the world. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Right now, you're all bookworms. You're caterpillars. You can't fly, but you want to, and you want to be beautiful in your sight and everyone else's sight. But you have to seclude yourself. Once you get the information, whatever that information is that you want to focus on and specialize in that I'm teaching you, it may not be day trading, it may be short-term trading. It may be crypto stuff, even though I don't like it. It might be that's where you're going to be. You may be the next legend in that asset class. Learning from me, doing the things I'm teaching, you may become the most widely respected and looked up to individual in the industry. Who says that you aren't or couldn't be? You're the one that's going to stop you. And you're the one that's going to fuel that. But you have to be able to segregate yourself from the influence of social media and negativity and things that are really just a waste of time. A waste of time and energy and effort. When you're devotional to studying, putting yourself in front of the charts, reading price action, whether it be live or in hindsight, you have to continuously make that investment. And it will yield limitless fruits. Even the smallest of experience, whether good or bad, in the proper learning environment, yields so much in the future that you can't understand or appreciate right now. The things I've learned, the painful lessons I've learned, many times come up in trade. Like, for instance, the trade I did yesterday. When I was in that trade, reaching for that 44.93 3/4, I wanted to see it trade up in the weekly volume and bounce. That's really what I was trying to reach for, but I knew everybody would see right away the 16th of June 2023's high for ES. And obviously above an old high, that'd be liquidity, buy side liquidity. But while I was in that trade over 3 hours long or so, my mind reverted back to either painful experiences I've endured because I've seen so much price action, so many different markets, so many different time frames, so many opportunities, so many stellar executions, just really phenomenal entries and just managing the positions. I've seen many of that over 3 decades. But in between all that, there's a laced layer of failures, losing, blown accounts, depression, regret, all those things. And I remember all that stuff while I'm watching price action. And sometimes it can be a distraction. Sometimes it can be an encouragement where I'll watch something in price action and it'll remind me of something I did before. Now, I don't go out thinking about, oh, remember that time I was trading copper and it did this? I don't physically go into that vault in my memory and say, let me dig that out. It's just when I see something in price action, it makes me remember that event because it was impactful. It was either a win or it was a debilitating loss. And you're gonna have a whole memory bank of that. As you go forward in your career, you're gonna have that same thing happen. And for people that say you shouldn't journal, it's a stupid waste of time. It's dumb to do that. I'm an alpha. I don't do that shit. I'm out here to make money and look at me. I promise you, those individuals are not. They are not as organized as they pretend to be. You're not seeing all their trades. They're a wreck emotionally while they're in a trade. And here's the telltale sign. Look at the average length of trade if they make that available to you. Most of them won't, especially now. Now that I'm talking about it like this, you'll never see them want to share that. If you're comfortable, and this is what you want to be, when you're at your destination of excellence, you're not in a hurry. You're not in a hurry. Once you mature to a point in study that it's just a matter of time, you're going to get what you're looking for. You want to leave your job, it's going to fucking happen. You can't set a date for it, though. That's the mistake. That's the mistake I tried to do. I tried to say, okay, I want to be done working at this time. But now it was 20 years in advance, that far out. I had 20 years. That was my retirement. At 40, I want to retire. I don't want to be working anymore at 40 years old. I was a 20-year-old thinking that. And at the time, and looking back now, I still think that as a realistic objective. About 6 weeks or so, maybe. About 7 weeks or so. Off the top of my head, I can't think. August 8th, I'll turn 51 years old. And I can tell you, as a 51-year-old, thinking about how I thought as a 20-year-old, the timeline that I first started with, that was realistic. Now, that's not to say that you learning from me is going to take you 20 years, because a lot of people like to troll that bullshit, but their students don't bring their fruits. You don't see anybody making $500,000. Okay. You don't see these other people out there making millions of dollars. You don't see it. So when you waste your time listening to that stuff, what you're doing is you're looking for perfect excuses why you shouldn't study, why you shouldn't put in the time. One of the best gifts I'm going to give you is to walk away in November, because many of you just simply want to collect. You want to collect new gadgets, new methods. And that is in itself a deterrent from you growing. You have enough. You have more than enough. But because you're constantly addicted to the new voodoo that I'm releasing, everybody wants to be on the bandwagon when a new thing pops out and they want to have a conversation about it. That's great. I mean, I'm going to lie and say I'm not, thrilled to see people's interest in it, but it becomes, and takes on this, it's a distraction. And I created it. And I can tell you honestly, the way people take the things I release, they make it like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It escapes me, but yeah, I guess it would be called like. It's called like, yeah. I'm just gonna be honest. That's what it is. Whenever I drop something new, whenever I teach something new, there's a large portion of our community that just goes berserk. and initially it's funny, yeah. But I can be honest and practical and tell you that as a teacher, as a mentor, I have so many more things. If I stayed around and kept releasing stuff, many of you would never settle in on just what you have and work with that, because you think that there's something else out there. Look at that. I mean, he released a silver bullet. Look at that. It's perfect. It's time. I know when it's going to form. And for many of that was a big concern. Like, when does it form? When do these order blocks? What's the right order block? Because really what you're asking is, What is the setup that's never going to take a loss? And I can trust that it's going to move in the right direction that bias is indicating. Well, here's the thing. I only have things that go in a 90%, but there's 10% likelihood I'm going to fail at it. The trade won't go exactly where I want it to. It might go in a position or a trade movement that'll allow me to take profit, but it doesn't go always to my best case target. Now, a best case target is just that. It's best case. But I have conditioned myself over 30 years to take enough and be content with that. And then leave something there in the event that my ego and pride needs to have itself massaged. If it goes there, great. If it doesn't, I can cope with the fact that it can go there. That's a skill set that I had to condition myself with. And I teach it that way to you because I know a lot of you, especially the men, and many of them won't admit to this, but they can't take losing. They can't take missing a move. They can't take getting stopped out. If I get stopped out and the trade's still valid, you've watched me do this. You've seen me do it. If I get stopped out, okay, no problem. I'm going right back in again. I got 81 ways to get into it, and I ain't worried about it. I don't need my favorite song to dance. All I'm looking for is a reason to justify a trade still being valid. And that's all you're doing. But what is it that you're complicating it with? You're trying to bring everything. You're trying to bring everything that I've ever talked about and probably some of the stupid shit that you bring in, like I tried to bring in when I first started. But I really like bull flags. I really like bull flags. I want to put this in. No, I lost money trading bull flags, even in bull markets. Where was I losing that at? When it would trade down into a BISI. Yeah, look at them. Many times they look just like that. And I thought that they were bull flags. No. And when I would get stopped out, I'd be afraid to get back in because I thought it was a collapsed bull flag. That means it's bearish. No, the only thing it did was trade down into its inefficiency, into an order block. It shot past what would otherwise be viewed as initially a bull flag and then ran real quick. Well, at that point, I'm demoralized. What's going on here? I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. They're teaching me the incorrect stuff, and I'm trying to do this, and I can't win. I can't win. And then I would project that in my personal life, in my relationship with my girlfriend, in relationships with the places that I would be employed, trying to wrestle myself away from it. When I was doing the vending job while I was trading, I would speed and drive recklessly just to get to a payphone. Sounds like Superman, don't it? But back then, that's the way it was. We didn't have cell phones. So when the market was showing me on my quote track, this is where price is at. The Swiss franc is trading here. You better get in there and do what you got to do. Well, there's cars in front of me, just like it is when you get up late for work and there's more traffic than you expected or anticipated, and you know you're going to be late, or you can't get there in time to stand in front of the water cooler to talk the bullshit you saw on TV last night or the sports event that somebody did something stupid. That pressure to be where you want to be, but you're being hindered. I did all that stuff too. I did all that stuff. And I used all of the things that I endured that were problematic, painful, and growing pains, really what they were. But I would take that and project it into my personal life. And I was not a pleasant person to be around. I was not. And I realized that I had to cocoon myself. I had to cut myself away from everybody. No relationships, no friends, no weekend life, nothing but the price charts and the markets. The market is a cruel lover. She demands all of your attention. And she wants you to love her for abusing you. And it's a very difficult thing to accept that, yes, when she's in the right mood, she'll give everything you want and more. But sometimes she's going to abuse you. And if you love her, you'll still be there for her. You'll endure, even though it many times feels like a toxic relationship, for better or worse, you're there. And that's what I basically did when I was a young man. And it was hard for my wife now to accept that. My children grew up in that. But excellence costs. It costs a lot more than you think it's going to. And when you come into this industry and you learn from me or someone else, and they know what they're doing, and you, in your ignorance, you demand, like that young man in the Jade Master's parable. He went to that master thinking he knows how to be trained when he had no idea what he's doing. That's arrogance. That's pride. That's ego. And it's really dangerous when you're stupid. And I was like that. I expected to be able to walk out there because I read books and books and books, so many fucking books. And every time I've read one, every time I saw something new, that was it. That was the thing. That's the thing I've been waiting for. That's the one thing. No, that's just the next thing I'm going to spend more time and attention on instead of worrying about me. Every time I've blown it, every time I've blown an account, every time I've wrecked a really good winning trade, otherwise, if I would have just took partials, managed it correctly, even though it didn't get to a target level I was looking for, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be right. And you can't equate being correct or right as excellence. I'm going to say it again. Being right, having it go exactly how you want it to go, that is not excellence. That's perfection. There's a difference there. Two different destinations, okay? Heaven is perfection. And if you're hearing me right now, you ain't there. Excellence is doing that which should be done, preserving what you have, and not demanding more than what would be required to define it as contentment. You have to be comfortable with getting enough. And whenever you sit down with your model, you have to get to the point where, okay, even if I think it's going to this level of liquidity, or if I think it's going to trade to this inefficiency, because that's all we're doing as traders. That's all the price is going to do. Also, I'm going to toss this in because I see it a couple times in my video comments. And yes, I can see all of your video comments. There's lots of them. And still pretty much sickeningly sweet, Sugarfest loving me. And I love that. I thank you for that. But it's not something that everybody wants to see. And I feel uncomfortable just having a comment section up with the majority of that there. But there's a few of you that are commenting and asking. I've seen it on Twitter a few times too. What do I do in markets that are trading at all-time highs? How do we know how far it's going to go? You don't, and I don't. You just do Fibonacci extensions from old market structures, and that's all I do. There's no way of knowing when, or not where, the market will go when it's at all-time highs. That's a market that's in discovery. That's real discovery for the people that trade market profile and all that. The real market discovery is when you're trading at all-time highs and expanding higher. You don't know how far they're going to let it go. You don't know that. I don't know that. There's no way of knowing that. So it's a matter of, if you're long, you just wrap your arms around it, squeeze onto it real tight, close your eyes, and this is see where it goes. There's no science behind that. But as long as you're inside of a range, you use the technical science that I'm teaching you. So to help you arrive at destination excellence, I've taken your attention to stock index futures. I can see how many of you that were kicking and screaming when I first did that. Oh, but I'm a Forex trader, ICT. You got to bend to my will. I'm not going to watch your videos because you're not doing Forex anymore. Okay. There's plenty of people out there talking about Forex. But if you want to learn how to read price action that's across all asset classes, when I'm talking about a market that is applicable, unless I say this specific element is only for Forex or for futures, you should assume that it's generic for all asset classes. And there's only a few things that I've said that are very specific for futures or specific for Forex. And largely everything I'm teaching you is uniquely flexible. It allows you to go out in any asset class and just own it, fleece it, harvest it, beat the shit out of it. Whatever you want to do, whatever it is that you want to view it as. If you want to view it as a ballet dancer going across, or someone that reads sheet music like Linda Brash, her analogy was when she reads the markets, it's like looking at sheet music. And that made me terrified in 1995 when I was reading her book. I was like, shit, man, this is going to be harder than I thought because I still can't read sheet music. I tried. Man, I tried. I have tried and tried and tried. I can't. Now, I can play a little piano, but I have what is referred to as intonation. Like if I hear something, I can play it, but to read it in sheet music, I can't. I don't know how to describe it. It's just that's just the way it is. I wish I could read sheet music and I wish I could play the guitar. And I've tried for many years to do it and I can't. I'm not giving up on it, but as of yet, I've not been successful. Now you would think, hey man, this is ICT. You know, he shits fucking fireballs out his ass and lightning from his eyeballs. He can do anything. He just said he can't play the guitar. Yeah, it's the thing that I struggle with. I don't know. I can't get myself to do it. And you know, that's how it's going to be for you in your trading. You might think that you want to trade the silver bullet. You might want to trade, you know, some new thing I teach between now and November because it comes out and it seems awesome. And that's the thing that you want to pour all of your interest and efforts into. And I don't think that that's the right way of doing it. And that's another benefit of me leaving in November because I'm going to stop providing you new things. So it's going to force those individuals that are here to learn how to. I'm not sure if you can hear that. That's a hummingbird, literally 14 to 18 inches away from my face, hovering. I'm not going to take your feeder from you. Relax. Having this idea, I can just hear it all the people that like, dude, like you're all over the place. That's what it's like being in my mind. That's exactly what it's like being in my mind. Now imagine I'm in a live stream where tens of thousands of you can sit there and comment to me or ask me a question. I'm going to want to read your comments, and I can't look at price if I'm doing that because my mind's, a thousand different things are jumping in front of me, and that's what makes me not the best mentor. I wish I couldn't. I wish I could rather be able to stay focused, but I don't have the ability to do that. But if you go in, you find an approach or a method or a model that I've inspired you to consider, you should at least spend at least 2 to 3 months with it because you're not going to see the ebb and flow of when it really shines and when it looks like it might be there, but it's not. I read a tweet the other day, it was yesterday actually. A guy says to me, and these are the same types of people that are very, very sour. They're very, very sour. They're very, very critical. And the problem is number one, that's because the expectation is unrealistic. And then there's an impatience there. But the person's post was something to this effect. Oh, here's another failed displacement in the silver bullet. You know, why is this failing? Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. And I didn't see a silver bullet in what was being shown. And many times, and this is exactly what was going on in my 2016 first mentorship group. And by the way, let me just toss this out there too. Um, there are people that have accounts, these bots that are attached to my account. And apparently, whenever I make a post, like this dude on Twitter trades SMC, and he's got like all these bots attached to my tweets saying, "Oh, trade with this guy, trade with Alex, or trade with I don't know what it is. I mean, if it's not Alex or if it's somebody named Alex that's hearing this and I'm incorrect by saying that, I apologize. But it's something to that effect. Some dude sitting in front of his computer, or whatever. Yeah. If you see that, by the way, you reply with it with fake, so that way I can block it because they block me, so I can't see that they're doing it. So there's no way for, I mean, I see there's responses and replies, but I want to broom that stuff. Like I don't want that shit. It gets on my nerves. So I have OCD and that type of shit gets on my nerves. I don't like it. But if you have a model that you have been interested in and you have not done at least 2 to 3 months of study with it, that means really digging into it, not looking at anything else I'm talking about new, but putting aside everything else and saying, okay, I'm going to spend some time with this and really make an effort to understand it. It's not wasted, even if you get to the point where you don't feel like that this is the model for you. Because everything, this is another response I gave to another person the other day on Twitter. He says, or she, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but they say, you got too many videos, man. And why don't you just make a playlist of all the good videos and then we'll have what we need. And I asked, why don't you just simply want to watch it all and learn it correctly? Because the right mindset is if you're going to learn from me, you're going to watch everything. You're not going to watch it once. You're going to watch it multiple times and not for the ad revenue. I don't give a fuck if you watch my videos. Download them and watch them on your fucking computer. I don't give a fuck. Okay. I am already loaded. I don't need no fucking ad revenue. My daughter needs that fucking money. I'm tired of giving her money. So I've made an income stream where I've done the work. Now I have passive income. And whenever she needs something, it comes from there. It's done. It helps me deal with the fact that I have a daughter that just doesn't want to listen. I have a family that doesn't children right now. They're going to go and listen to your mind thinking, when am I getting more of them? I have 5 children. I've lost 2 of them. I'll see them in heaven. But the 5 I have, they all have their character flaws, just like you, just like me. But you need to watch these videos in entirety, and you don't need to support good old ICT or his daughter by watching fucking videos for ad revenue. I don't give a fuck if you ever watch anything ever again. I don't care. I don't care if that's what your mindset is. Don't watch my shit. But if you don't want to watch it all, you will never have the full panoramic view that I've made available to all of you. So you think it's silver bullets, fair value gaps, optimal trade entries, and order blocks that don't exist. Order blocks absolutely fucking exist. It's just like the macros that I've been talking about. These jokers out there saying, oh, these fucking macros don't exist. This is all made up bullshit. Dude, I'm literally proving that every joker out there that ever said you can't time the market, I got it down to a 20-minute fucking interval where you can just sit your ass still and wait. 20 fucking minutes. That's what I'm available to show you right now. I can show in a minute. I know exactly when these fucking markets will turn in a minute. So go fuck yourselves, okay? If you fucking think this is all contrived, you go out and do it. You go out and do that. You fucking do it. I don't give a fuck if it's pre-recorded or not. Use live data on TradingView. Everybody will know it's live. No market replay bullshit. I don't give a fuck. It's sufficient evidence to me. But everybody that sits out there and tries to discourage you and say, oh, it's this, it's that, do it. If it's so fucking easy, do it. Because I'm running a clinic every week. Every week I'm proving this shit. And there ain't nobody else out there doing it like me. Nobody. And I'm making everybody look fucking stupid. And not even trying. But guess what? It's a new fucking month. It's fucking July, Vinny. Why the fuck are you not in that Robbins Cup? You said you put $50,000 in there and you showed all this fucking bullshit. This photoshopped, blacked out, redacted horseshit. Motherfucker, get in there for real. I am going to blaze your fucking ass. Please, 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 please bring your fucking ass. Sam, please Really join it, motherfucker. Because I told you, if I don't do 10 fucking times, 25 fucking times, I will delete my fucking channel. Period. There is none. Why the fuck are you waiting around for this? I told you, it's a deadline in November. I'm done. And if you don't come to the fucking dance, you puss the fuck out. You pussed the fuck out. You bent the fucking knee. You gave up without even fucking trying. Why? Why? Why would you not want to do it? I'll tell you why, motherfucker. Because you see exactly what I have said all this time. Even my fucking, I've even showed you the tech that lets me can sit on my fucking ass and make your fucking yearly salary in 20 fucking minutes, you little bitch. Please, humor me. Indulge us all. Be my victim, motherfucker. I want to break your fucking ass in front of the world. You have clowned for 2 fucking years. You got a fucking lawsuit, bitch. You have no idea what I got for you. You have no idea. You are not a fucking multimillionaire. You've not made millions of dollars. You've done nothing, you little bitch. So yes, the last part of this year, it's gonna be a little bit different ride. Told you, I'm done in November. You sat on your ass. Maybe you're quiet. Maybe you fantasize. Maybe you sock puppeted. Talk shit. Oh, you this and you that. Now's the time. Now is the fucking time. Because when I turn and say farewell, I'm done. I'm not coming back on Twitter. My Twitter is not being deleted. My YouTube videos will never be deleted because there ain't a motherfucker out there who can even come close to me. Nobody. Not one of you motherfuckers. Not one of you could even get close to me. Look what I did with the ES yesterday. Look where I entered. What PD array do you see there? Well, you know. look how close I was to the low with the spread. I knew that minute, January 1st. January 1st, in 2001, I knew that minute that was going to be the low. So go fuck yourselves, okay? You have no idea. You have no idea who the fuck's talking to you right now. You have no idea. Please. Oh, shit. Excellence is knowing you can, but you don't have to. Excellence is being able to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Poolside or in the pool. It's 92 degrees in this fucking thing. It feels like a bathtub. The only thing it's missing is a cool drink. Cool drink. You guys are going to miss me. When you get to a point where you get no real thrill, no real concern for doing it right in, because it's the same old shit. You're bored by it. I have allowed all of your development to inspire me, to encourage me to share more. And I just think that your greatest lesson being a student of mine is independence. And next Tuesday, we will have in our states, in the United States, our yearly celebration of independence. And I think this is probably the last one that we can view like that, because they're bringing some shit that, look at France. You live in France? If you're a follower in France on Twitter, tell me what you see. That kind of stuff, that's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. Remember this time last year, I was talking about how we had 18 months, and you better start putting your time into learning how to do other things, other skill sets, because the world's going to be changing drastically. Well, we're now 12 months in of that 18-month. Over the next 6 months, man, it's going to get hard. It's going to get real hard. And some of you that didn't listen to me, that didn't put the time in investing in yourself, you're going to have a sense of panic come over you, and that's going to be debilitating. It's going to paralyze you. It's going to keep you from doing what it is that's necessary, and it's going to bring on a measure of stress you've never really had before. So if that's you, then you need to just buckle down and start studying, because they're going to be changing a lot of shit. And I told you last year they're going to be bringing in these things called climate lockdowns. It's interesting. I'm always 6 months to 12 months ahead of everybody else. Yep. Perspective. I'm not looking to that little triangle, that little illustration I gave you earlier. My head's on a swivel. And if you can't see what's coming and what they're trying to do, you are going to be so ill prepared when it breaks, because society's not going to be able to take it well. And you want to be able to make your money from your home, because it won't be safe. And that won't protect you either. I mean, there's going to be home invasions and shit. That's why I support the Second Amendment dozens of times. I have a big house, and there's a Second Amendment knickknack in every one of my areas of my home. If you don't have one of those things, you might want to get one. FedNow launched today, so it'll be interesting to see what we see going forward. Everybody's in a pursuit of having their own central bank digital currencies. And what you don't realize is, and there's going to be people that say, oh, well, we have a digital currency now. You're right. You're right. But you're not understanding what a central bank digital currency will allow them to do. It will remove the ability for you to spend how and when you want to spend it. Does the cash that you have in hand have an expiration date? How about your bank account? The balance, does it have an expiration date? If you don't spend the amount of money that you have on hand, whether it be in cash or whether it be in your deposit of your checking account, right now it still sits there in perpetuity, just stays there. You have this amount of money. Central bank digital currency is going to have an expiration. You must spend it by this time or you lose it. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. That's where you're being ushered into. That's what you don't see coming. and they're going to sugarcoat it. They're going to lace it up with all the conveniences. You're never going to have any hacks. You're never going to have any problems with somebody stealing your money. All the benefits of illegal crimes that are done under the table with cash and illegal employment can't happen anymore because you have to use our central bank digital currency. And once they have everybody on it, they own you. They don't like what you said online. That's why I'm leaving in November. By the way, I've already have enough shit out there, and like this one here talking, I'm sure they'll reach back in the archives and hit me with some kind of bullshit fine and take away some credits. Oh, you said this in 2022, and you said this in 2016. You said Trump was going to be elected and they were going to use him as a fall guy to fuck the economy. Yep, I said all that, and look what's. Yeah, it's not a time machine, folks. It's just different conference. We're going to step in worst shit we've ever had before. And you think you're outside the U.S. and you think, oh, well, that's not going to bother me. It's not going to. I don't live in France right now, ICT. I ain't going to worry about that. This shit's coming everywhere. Climate lockdowns. That's what's coming. That is what is coming. You will not be able to drive your car like I do. I guess I'll be getting fines because I'm fucking driving. I'm not getting rid of my 8-cylinder fucking vets.